Sometimes it must be quite hard to imagine what actually happens in our daily lives over here, so we thought we'd give you a bit of a glimpse into what we do. Our morning begins with Theo either running into our room or crowing from his room, like a rooster. That's right. And then we get up, we eat breakfast, and Andy heads off to work.
So each day I walk over to the hangar at about 7 o'clock and check the aeroplane's airworthy, put fuel in it so that it's ready for the day's flying, and that's about the most consistent part of the day that I have to tell. After that, it changes every time.
Every morning Theo and I walk down to see Andy fly off, and we watch him go up the airstrip, and then as the plane goes overhead, Theo goes, "Bye bye Daddy," and that's part of our morning routine.
What I'm basically doing is taking off from Kuwito and visiting quite isolated communities of about 500 to 1,000 people and helping them by providing an air service. So typically I land, and then usually there'd be a crowd of 100 or more people come out to see the aeroplane. They're usually quite interested to see who's coming in on the aeroplane or what's happening, and I'll pick up 1 or 2 passengers to take them where they need to go. It might be that somebody's quite sick and needs to go to hospital, and I do quite a number of flights where people are just going into hospital because they feel sick and they're paying for a ticket and going there themselves to see a doctor. It might be that I'm going to an isolated community and one of the teachers there needs to cash their cheque that they're paid in. It's an interesting thing that all these teachers in remote communities are paid by the government in cheques, but the only place they can cash those cheques is at the major centre of Daru, so they have to spend a large portion of their pay packet just getting to the bank so that they can cash it. One of the great things about operating again out of Kuwito, which is a newly reopened base, is that teachers are much more willing to work in a bush community if they know that there's an air service to get them to town, and so that they can go home for holidays and things like that without having to walk for weeks. I might also take pastors from their bush community to conferences and back again. There's also more senior people in the church which move around quite a bit from the main bases in places like Tari, and they often want to go and visit Bible college graduations or other church functions around the province. So MAF is really the major carrier for that sort of thing, and we're actually able to provide them with a big discount for that, which makes it much easier and basically makes it possible for the church to pay for these flights.
We often go outside because this is a bit of a cooler time of the day. We go outside and we'll sit under the tree and we'll organise kids club, or we'll prepare for kids club, prepare for playgroup, prepare for Bible studies, and do that sort of thing.
I also get a lot of visitors to the door for selling me prawns, or maybe they need some medicines, and I try to help when I can with them, or send them somewhere where they can get help.
Because the program around Kuwito is characterised by longer distances and quite isolated villages, another part of that is that there's not much fuel or not many places to refuel the aeroplane. So my day normally looks like taking off from Kuwito and doing quite a big milk run, we would call it, where you visit a number of different communities in a big loop and end up back at Kuwito. So I'm constantly trying to balance carrying enough fuel to be able to do the flight safely, but also leaving enough kilos in the aeroplane to lift the people who want to travel out of the different communities. Okay, so this is my brother Dux. He is the one that's helping us put fuel in the planes all the time and load the plane and unload it. And he's just always around mowing the grass, looking after the security. And he's the one that's teaching me how to speak some Gogodala words as well. So I can say Serenap Debe, good afternoon, because Dux is the one teaching me.
That's right.
And he's my brother, and we're two brothers, and we move around here together.
Too good, is it?
The general feeling that I get is people are very excited to have aeroplanes back in the Kowito area, and there's quite a number of, like I said, isolated bush airstrips which are getting service now, which weren't getting service before, so that's really exciting. One of the bits of my day that I like the best is the Bible box. I'm carrying a box around in the aeroplane with Bibles and Bible dictionaries and some other resources in it. When I have time at bush places, I take the box out and people can buy Bibles for a price which is affordable for people to pay in the bush. And usually when I take the box out, the box sells out completely. People are so eager to get their hands on a Bible. And I'm really excited because we're getting into some audio Bibles which play the Bible out loud and are solar charged, and also maybe some micro SD cards with the audio Bible in, which people can put into their mobiles and play the Bible that way. Eventually I get back to Kowito at about 4:30 or 5 o'clock when I put the plane to bed and head inside the office to finish up the paperwork for the day, and that usually takes about an hour, and then I go home to Mif and Theo and see them for a bit before Theo goes to bed.
So this is what we do here in PNG. Thank you for your prayers and support. Bye from us now.
Bye!
Can you say bye-bye?
Bye-bye!